Tonight, President Trump is officially on trial.
The Senate will convene as a court of impeachment.
Both sides, House Democrats who will prosecute, and the president's defense team arriving at the Capitol. A dramatic scene on the Senate floor. All 100 senators, the jurors warned not to speak.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons are commanded to keep silent on pain of imprisonment.
It follows a bitter clash over the rules. The Senate's top Republican Mitch McConnell saying he was following the Bill Clinton impeachment model that allowed each side 24 hours to make its case.
The process was good enough for President Clinton, and basic fairness dictates it ought to be good enough for this president as well.
But Democrats objecting to a key difference from the Clinton rules, new limits that would force each side to make those arguments over just 2 days, meaning sessions lasting late into the night.
Why don't they want the case to be presented in broad daylight? On something as important as impeachment, the McConnell resolution is nothing short of a national disgrace.
Then a surprise. After at least one pivotal Republican raised concerns, a pair of last-minute handwritten changes, allowing 3 days for opening statements. And the documents from the House will be put into evidence. That small group of Republican moderates could be critical on another flashpoint, whether to call witnesses. Democrats demanding a vote now, including on former National Security Advisor John Bolton.
A trial without evidence is not a trial. It's a cover-up.
But Republicans argue House Democrats refused to subpoena Bolton when they had a chance, and that the vote on witnesses will come after opening arguments. Tonight, another key Republican who Democrats were counting on is sticking with McConnell's plan.
The Democrats say the Republicans are engaged in a cover-up right now. Your response to that?
Well, I think it's important to hear from John Bolton and perhaps other witnesses, obviously from both the defense as well as the prosecution. The right time for that vote, that decision, is after the opening arguments.
Later, with the Chief Justice presiding, both sides taking turns trying to persuade the jury. House Democratic prosecutors insisting the rules are unfair.
I believe the most important decision in this case is the one you will make today. Will the president and the American people get a fair trial?
And saying it would have taken too long to go to court to compel witness testimony.
A president may not defeat impeachment or accountability by engaging in endless litigation.
We're acting as if the courts are an improper venue to determine constitutional issues of this magnitude? That is why we have courts.
And for the first time, the president's legal team, which was not part of the House proceedings, now making its case, dismissing the Democrats' case as partisan politics.
Why are we here? Are we here because of a phone call? Or are we here before this great body because since the president was sworn into office, there was a desire to see him removed?
Inside the chamber, it was unusual to see all 100 senators sitting at their desks silently as jurors, many of them taking extensive notes. I saw some notes being passed from one senator to another, all of it before they're asked ultimately to render a verdict.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.